All right, we have one last presenter, and I don't know if you're getting sick of me at this point, but thankfully, she purposely asked, without even having met me first, not to do very much intro. So that's flattering. She is a designer, educator, and commercial artist. She's a graduate of Columbia College in Chicago, the Fashion Institute and Merchandising School in Los Angeles. Please welcome to the stage our final speaker for this evening. A big round of applause, Meg Lewis.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so I added this slide in here with a video and then realized that I had nothing to say during this slide, so I'm just going to talk slower. It doesn't matter. Okay, hello, I'm Meg Lewis. I am a designer, as you can tell by my slides already. I'm a graphic designer, but I'm a designer that works more as an artist and a problem solver. I spent many years solving problems for brands and realized that I don't like to solve problems. And so now what brands do is they hire me because I have a very specific style, which you can probably tell from my work. So what happens is brands say, we already created a solution for our problem. We want you, and we want to hire you to apply your style to that solution. And I love it. I get paid less than problem-solving designers, I will tell you that right now. All right, so I also founded a company called Ghostly Ferns. We are an, I can actually say, international collective now because one of us moved to the UK. We are an international collective of designers and commercial artists, but really we're a group of best friends that wanted to spend every moment together as a tax write-off. So we work together as often as possible. And then locally, I founded a company called Foolproof. You may have seen us. We're in Northeast, right around the corner from Brasa. We are a shared workspace, but also we're just a group of friends that works together and allows us to do that as a tax write-off. All right. I was just telling everyone about how I buy specific outfits to wear on stage because it's a tax write-off category. I've been a freelancer my whole career, so I know how to master the system. Let's move on. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a career for myself that is a culmination. It is a combination of every single skill that I have to offer. And I've chosen a career from the a la carte menu. I do a bunch of tiny things that are smushed together that makes one big career for myself. And I just love it so much. And I also do a lot of speaking, teaching, workshops, everything. And it's the best. So what I'm here to talk about is not my work or what I do. It's about my journey and becoming the example that I actually needed when I was growing up. Because whenever I was growing up, I learned by example, right? So I learned from a lot of women in my life of what I could be as a woman growing up when I was a girl. All right, so for women, right, you're supposed to have a certain personality as a woman, especially when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, right? You have a very specific personality as a precious, lovely woman, and you have a certain body. Obviously, I was looking at not social media. Oh my God, I was not on social media as a child. I wish. I needed it. So I was looking at the media and pop culture and seeing all these women and thinking, that's what I'm supposed to look like. But of course I didn't look like that. I looked like someone else entirely. And then when it came to career options, every single woman in my life was either a full-time mom, a teacher, or worked in retail. So I thought that those were my three options, and I continued to believe that. And so as I got older, obviously I failed a lot because I was nothing like any of the examples that I was supposed to be like. And this is what I looked like when I was a kid. This is me. I was trying new things. I was trying to be someone that I was supposed to be, and clearly it wasn't working out for me. That's me on the right over there, with my hands delicately placed on my dad. So that's what I looked like. And obviously, that kid got bullied a lot. I was misgendered all of the time. It did not feel good to go into the girls' bathroom and get screamed at. People would ask me, what am I doing? I got called a freak all of the time. And I was just exploring who I was and trying to figure out, but it was not working. And during that time, I went to comedy as sort of what you do when you're uncomfortable as a child and you don't fit in. And so I decided maybe I'll be like Lucille Ball. I loved Lucille Ball, and I thought maybe I can be a comedian. But as I got older and older and taking improv and comedy and acting classes as a child, I kept hearing passively this statement. I heard it all of the time. No one ever told me it directly to my face, but I heard it on TV. I heard people mention it, and I just thought, okay, I guess I'll just be one of those 3 career types that I had as an option. And so as I did get older, the internet came and saved me. And so whenever I was in high school, I started to discover the internet. And that's when I got more examples in my life. I saw different examples for what women and girls could be. I saw women and girls all around the world that looked completely different than anyone I had ever seen. They were acting differently, they had different jobs, they had everything that I ever wanted. There were so many options for what women and girls could be. And I saw it on the internet. And so I got out of there. I grew up in a suburb of Kansas City. I got out of there and immediately went to LA. I went to school. I went to a fashion school in LA because I had basically chosen retail as the path after comedy. And I was like, I need to go to fashion school. And so I went to fashion school in LA, but I am extremely uncompetitive. I do not like to compete. If anytime I'm in a competition with anyone else, I always pick the person that I think is the best, and I make sure that they get first so I can get second. Because I always feel like they want it more than I do, so I just let them, and I usually call the back seat instead of shotgun. It's a whole thing. And so obviously fashion school in Los Angeles did not work out for me. And that's not where my people were. So I moved and I moved and I moved until I finally found a community in New York where I found people that were like me. But most importantly, I found people who allowed me to have a safe space to become who I was and to explore who I was. This was the first time I had ever found people that allowed me to experiment with who I was and try new things, and they were supportive of me the whole time. And so I became real obsessed with being me. I was super excited when I lived in New York. It was a great time. But most importantly, I realized that I could become a completely new example of what a woman, of what a human, of what a person could be. I could be unlike anyone else, and that got me so excited. All right, so there were a lot of things that I could do in order to do this, but the first thing was to figure out who I was and just make sure to be my true self all of the time, which means that I had to be my crazy, unusual, wacko personality all of the time. I had to create a career that was completely unlike anyone else's, which is what this is, right? I listed out all of my wacky personality traits, and I listed out all my skills, and I said, how do I make a career that's just for me, that literally no one in the world can have, because it's a reflection of what makes me unique? All right, how'd those get in there? But no, all of this is to say that now brands hire me because I have no other competition. I do something that literally no one else can do. So whenever somebody comes to me, I don't have to compete with anyone because I'm offering something that no one else is offering, and it rules. But as you can see, brands and companies hire me because I have a specific style that can only come out of what my brain has to offer and what my past has led me here to become. And the best part is that the more that I'm this person, the more wacky things that I do that I just want to do, the more opportunities I get. It is absolutely amazing. So the more things like this that I do, the more brands that approach me and the more companies that approach me and say, we love your personality and we want you to bring that into our event or our new brand identity. And I'm like, all right, great. But that just means that I'm getting to work with people who respect and understand me, and that just means that our working relationship is even better. And so that's what I'm focused on today. I don't want to be an example of a person for everyone to then copy and be just like me. I want to be an example of this new kind of person that you can be. I just want to be myself so that I give others an opportunity to be excited about who they are and want to be themselves on a stage in front of a lot of people too. And so that's what I'm doing today. I wrote a book and I have a video series called Full-Time You, which is what I'm doing with most of my time now, teaching workshops and selling the book and all of that. I ship every order out myself. It's a lot. I just got a new tape moistening machine. It's very exciting. But I run this program in order to help people to figure out what the unique qualities of themselves are so they can go and create a career and a life that's specifically made just for them. And so I want you all to think, since I'm the last speaker, I want you to become the example of a person that you needed whenever you were growing up. Thank you.